Oh, that we learn to be like little children, that we be able to touch one another and to approach one another without fear. I've watched and remember oh so well when my children were little. I've also seen it recently with Lily, comes wandering around when she and Gingy are here. But I remember taking Hannah and Josh both, and I volunteered in both of their kindergarten classes. It was the same kindergarten class, same teachers and the like. But all these children of different sizes and shapes and colors and from different backgrounds, and some of them, they were in inclusion class, and the inclusion class had children who didn't speak English, and so together they were all in this room together, and neither Joshua nor Hannah were fazed by that reality. We don't live in a colorless world, and I want to celebrate the fact that we all come in lots of different sizes, shapes, colors, religions, genders, and the like. I want to celebrate that, and I think God does too. Rather than make us all one flat normative group, as if there could be such a thing. Now, I know people who want to define us as one flat normative group, and those people tend to have been the people who've been in power forever, and they want that to be the flat normative definition of everything. But the truth is, those eyes of children that see beyond and who are unafraid to state what they see. Your skin is dark. What is that about? Your skin is light. What is that about? Your skin is pink. What is that little dot on your face right there? So many small children have asked me about my little mole on my face multiple times. And they don't do it in any kind of cruelty. They just want to know. It's a piece of information for them. Now you see, I think God dreams of a world when we are more childlike. Over and over again, Jesus lifts that up. When children come to him and when he speaks about being childlike, and it's not an innocent childlikeness, it is a recognition that in every way and in everything and in every imaginable truth, we are dependent for our very breath on God. Our heartbeat, a gift from God. So as we close out this series, I wanted to read first a passage that sets us up. One passage is by a very imaginative prophet, Jeremiah. It's just one verse from chapter 29. It will probably be familiar to those of you who know biblical passages. I've heard it quoted before. But if you don't, I don't want you to be worried about whether you do or don't. Doesn't matter. But the truth will be that I want you to hear that passage that sets us up then to look at a passage very deep into the New Testament, to the Christian Bible, the book of Revelation, chapter 21. And I want you to hear the resonances between the two texts, because the interesting thing to me is we talk about the two texts, the Hebrew Bible, the Christian Bible, as if in some way there is a radical change of the language God uses. Perhaps there's a radical change in the way God communicates with us in person, but it's not so different. So hear these words from Jeremiah. Chapter 29, verse 11. And this is the Lord proclaiming. I know the plans I have in mind for you, declares the Lord. They are plans for peace, not disaster, to give you a future filled with hope. God's dream for us, a future filled with hope. And then very, very near the end of the biblical text, here in chapter 21, where God speaks, where the writer of Revelation speaks about a vision he has a vision or a dream that Spirit gave him as he was pondering this future. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the former heaven and the former earth had passed away, and the sea was no more. I saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, made ready as a bride beautifully dressed for her husband. I heard a loud voice from the throne say, "Look, God's dwelling is here with humankind. God will dwell with them, and they will be God's people. God will be with them as their God. He will wipe away every tear from the eyes. Death will be no more. There will be no mourning, crying, or pain anymore, for the former things have passed away." Then the one seated on the throne said, "Look, I am making all things new. Write this down, for these words are trustworthy and true." These are our readings for this morning. Praise be to God. For most of my life, I imagined God had a clear plan for everything, including my life. I was absolutely certain of it. Every time my life took a strange and bizarre twist or a broken piece, I thought for sure this was part of the plan. This was all the way up until I was, it's not even most of my life, that was not quite true. My life until my mid-20s, when I thought everything seemed to come to me just naturally. Everything was going my way, everything seemed right, everything seemed cool, it all worked out. Everything I tried for that I really should get, that I thought I should get, I often got, and the things that I didn't get, all of the colleges I applied to accepted me, all of those pieces. All those pieces seemed to be coming to me. And somewhere around the middle of my 20s, all of the pieces that had come to me fell apart. Relationship that I was sure going to last me the whole of my life fell apart. My sense of calling to ministry fell apart. My sense of meaning or purpose in life fell apart. I did all sorts of odd jobs trying to feed myself at least. I did billing for a doctor's office. I did, for a group of doctors at UVA, I did billing there. I went to work as a Kirby vacuum salesperson. If you ever need a super expensive vacuum cleaner, Kirby is for you. The Kirby vacuum cleaner, it had a lot of good things going for it as well, but I don't know if it was $1,400 worth of good. Especially, this is the 1980s. The 1980s, that's a lot of money for a vacuum cleaner. Of course, I'm not going to tell you about it. The long and short is, I sold that door to door. Went to houses, did demos. I was a terrible vacuum cleaner salesperson, and fortunately for me, I found another job working for Blue Cross and Blue Shield of the National Capital Area. I waited tables. I did all kinds of things to make ends meet. And it all came about, it came back around as I had been in therapy for a period of time. And, I said to my therapist, this is after I'd had an incident at Blue Cross and Blue Shield in which someone called on the phone, and we didn't have to listen to someone curse at us. We were supposed to hang up. I instead chose that moment to say, this is not how human beings treat each other. I immediately, the phone call was taken over by my supervisor, and I was called in on the carpet because we don't lecture our customers. We don't have to listen to them if they're cursing us out, but we can't tell them how good human beings behave. And I knew then perhaps this was not a place for me, and my therapist agreed. And so I began to explore, went back to seminary, got a job working in a local church again, and here I was. Here I was. God dreamed a different and a bigger dream, I think, for me than was the dream I dreamed at that point, even for myself. Only I couldn't see it. And the dream, rather than being a fixed plan of let's break James by having everything fall apart, everything fell apart. And it was an opportunity for me to figure some new things out. For me to figure out that God didn't just fix everything for me, that maybe God was bigger than the divine fixer, the one I had prayed to fix everything anytime it broke. And after God didn't fix the broken things the way I expected them to be fixed, I was certain I must be wrong about who God is, and I was. But not before struggling with doubt and uncertainty about who God could be for us. I've now come to believe and understand. It's not even believe, it really is coming to believe. I've come to know something about God, at least as I have experienced God. And that is, God doesn't have a moment-by-moment game plan about my life. If I choose to fritter away an afternoon binge-watching something on Netflix, I don't do that very often, but if I do, I don't get that afternoon back. And any potential that I might have created that afternoon by doing something else is gone. It's just gone. Doesn't mean there's not a new potential. You know, every once in a while I'll watch a Netflix show and say, why is it that I don't do video clips anymore in worship that come from, because we stream and it's illegal. Oh, that's why we don't do video clips from things like that. But after watching them, I'm inspired or I see some aspect of life. And so it opens a door, but it's not the door I was expecting to open. Every moment has the potential for a different way to go. And if I choose to walk this way on the stage as you're watching me, I can't be on that side to just turn and look at Linda straight behind me. I've made a choice, and this choice has changed how the rest of it will unfold. Now, this is a minor choice. I can always walk back over here and fix that as long as I don't fall off the edge of the stage. I can fix that, and there's Linda right behind me. But the truth is, sometimes we make a choice, and the choice we've made, we can't go back. We have made new choices. And I think the wonderful thing about God is not that God has a fixed final destination in mind, even though I believe God is Alpha and Omega. God has an imagined future for us of peace and hopefulness and no more pain and no more tears and no more anger. And God is inviting us to be a part of creating that reality. We're looking for a divine fixer to come and just drop in. And we want what our Greek and Roman brothers and sisters, if this particular, this is our Roman brothers and sisters, in Latin would say the Deus ex machina, the machine of the gods that comes in at the end because we've broken it so bad it can't be fixed. While God is constantly, if it wasn't worth being fixed, if it couldn't be fixed, why even send Jesus along the way to model anything? Why did he need to model a way of life? Why did he teach us a way to live? Why did he show us the practices that will change our lives? Why? If there's nothing to be done. If it's already broken, so broken it can't ever be fixed, why waste our time for however many years we get in this life? Why would we waste our time? Is it God's divine torture of us or some other kind of thing? I don't think so. God believes in you. God believes in me. God dreams a dream that invites every single one of us to participate, where we stop looking at each other as Republicans or Democrats or independents or communists or socialists or I don't even know all of the titles we throw around. There are a lot more. But instead of looking at all of those many, many pieces, looking at those pieces that break us apart, God hopes that we'll learn to see beyond that. Now, if we look at our world right now, and we imagine this is just a precursor of how bad it's going to be, we've already fixed in our mind. We've got a fixed picture. It's just going to get worse. It's not going to get better. It's just going to get worse. Why even engage and try to make a difference? And that's a wonderful way that no things ever change. Because we have already decided that nothing we do can change it. And by doing it, it's self-fulfilling, because I don't do anything to change it, and therefore nothing changes. And then I keep thinking, oh, it's just a continuous self-fulfilling prophecy. Do you know when Jeremiah wrote chapter 29? I don't know. I wasn't there. I can't give you an exact year, and neither can the biblical scholars give you an exact year. But at the time he was writing it, the world was coming unglued around him. The world that he knew had come unglued. And yet he imagined that God's Spirit would be poured out and that all things would be made right, that there would be hope. I don't think there can be hope as long as there's a fixed future in mind. I think there's hope because it's not seen by anyone. It's just a constant flowing opportunity and possibility that God is creating. In every moment, the potential for peace is there. If I've said the ugly word, we practice that pause so we won't. If I've said that ugly word, I can in the next moment apologize. It won't be the same as not saying it to begin with. But I can apologize. And maybe there are bridges that can be mended. We live in a society that teaches us more to dig our heels in more. The more you confront me, the more I'm dug in. The more I confront you, the more you're dug in. That's not God's dream. And it's not God's way. It might be the American way, but it is not God's way. God's way is for me to take a step towards you, not to dig in, but to step toward you. And for you to step toward me. And for us to find some middle ground where you're not 100% satisfied, I'm not 100% satisfied, but we both have given something, and maybe something better has come from our compromise. Something beautiful and possible has come out of our compromise. God dreams of a world where we don't treat people differently than us because of their color or the kinds of clothes they're wearing or their religious affiliation, where we don't treat each other differently by any of those imagined standards, where we learn to truly love each other. You see, when God dreams a dream of a new heaven and a new earth, it might be right here. What are you going to do with a heaven and coming down and God dwelling among us here when we're destroying the very planet on which we would be dwelling? How would we deal with that? How would God have us see this world God is creating? But by inviting us to dream a dream that is bigger, a dream that includes all peoples. That is the dream God dreams for us. Read the Bible. Really read it closely. Read about how the kingdom of God is among you. Not above you. Not way off somewhere. The kingdom of God is among you. The kingdom of God is within you. We are a part of God's kingdom and a part of what God's creating here and now. God dreams a dream that we're invited to be a part of. Now, we're not always going to do it right. We're not always going to frame our image of the world the way God might. But you know what happens? Because that's one slice of time, one slice of tea time, there's another slice. And what I didn't get right in this slice, which is already gone and I can't do anything about, I might get right in this slice. Because God is always creating the possibility for me to be reconciled, for me to love, for me to be open, for me to reach out. Because God is dreaming of a time when tears aren't necessary anymore. When we don't wholesale begin to try to murder a whole group of people for what a couple of them did. Where we don't try to get the last word because we don't need to. Because there isn't a last word. There never is. We imagine there is. So we keep one-upping each other. But in the end, what God hopes for is no more tears. Just like the shampoo, Johnson & Johnson, no more tears. No more tears, no more pain. Because we are reconciled to one another. And we carry one another. And we don't measure each other economically or socially or any of the ways that we have found to measure. We're just thankful for each other. Thankful for our differences as well as our similarities. Isn't it great to be human? We come in roughly 8 billion different forms. So far. 8 billion unique forms. Currently. That's kind of amazing. God dreamed in Technicolor, only it was beyond Technicolor. God dreamed we could be a part of what God's dreaming, moment by moment. So here we are in this moment. And my challenge to you this week, my challenge to me this week is to be a bit more playful. Don't take everything so seriously. There are some things you better take seriously, you know. I admit that, yes. But don't take everything so seriously. And especially, don't take yourself so seriously. Some of the worst decisions I've ever made is when I took myself way too seriously. I was afraid of affront and uncertainty, and I pushed back. God dreams a dream of peace and hope and possibility. And God creates the possibility for us to be a part of that possibility every moment. Every moment. So be a part of that. Look for creative, playful ways to engage the world this week. Take a walk, if you can. Enjoy the bird singing. This morning it was such a surprise to me. I hadn't noticed it. I was sitting in my chair in the absolute darkness, holding my cup of coffee. And a bird began to sing right outside my window. I don't always notice when birds start singing, but this morning I noticed it. And it was a playful song, greeting the dawn. Greeting the dawn. Sing a song to the dawn. If you're embarrassed, do it by yourself. If you're embarrassed, then just do it in your head. Dance to the radio in your house. You know, radios, those things you turn on and sound comes in, you know, across magical waves. Or whatever way you listen to music. Dance, sing, play, engage. Love. Look for new ways and imagine new ways to be God's people in this world. We will get through this time. We can. It's just these days it seems like we have to be more imaginative than we have ever been challenged to be. So we can talk to each other and love each other.